listeners because you're here today and you're wanting to find out more about estrogenic foods and how they can help you. And you're probably struggling, wanting to see if there are natural ways to handle a lot of the symptoms that you experience. So today we're going to go over, and stick around because we're going to talk about what are the different types of estrogenic foods, what they do for you, and what are the ones that are safe. And there are some that are not as good as others and that do different things. So it's really important that we take a look at this. And do they really work? We're going to talk about that, how they're used in other cultures. And I'll tell you, they worked for me. I experienced myself severe anxiety and panic attacks during menopause. I had bad migraines, night sweats, and vaginal dryness, all kinds of symptoms. And estrogenic foods have been a big part of my own holistic well-being, and in addition to other holistic techniques that we use in our own program. And in our program, we do customized meal plans so that if you need these estrogenic foods, we're going to help you plan out which ones and how much and what kind and what you need, and help you figure out recipes, because we don't always know how to prepare some of these foods because they're a little different than we might be used to. So stay tuned, and we're going to give you some great information and share that with you today. So before we jump in, I'm really curious, have any of you tried some of these estrogenic foods? And if you have, and you have any recipes or things you want to share, or you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them for you. And be sure to subscribe so that you'll be notified about our next videos and all the tips and things that we share about holistic menopause. So what exactly are estrogenic foods? So what we're talking about is foods that are rich in phytoestrogens, and there are various types of which we're going to talk a little bit about, and they take the place of estrogen. So they're not exactly the same as estrogen, and they really help eliminate a lot of symptoms like hot flashes and mood swings and more physical and emotional symptoms that can be addressed through diet and supplements. So that's really exciting. And how do we know these things? Well, one of the ways we know is that there's been a lot of research in the last 20 years, maybe not a lot, but enough that we understand it a little bit better. And one of the cultures is the Asian culture. I'm just going to use that one for an example today. They use a lot of soy products in Japan and China. And in their diet, they use tofu, miso, soy milk, things like that. Those are rich in isoflavones, which is one of the stronger phytoestrogens. And that one in particular has been very helpful with hot flashes and bone density and other symptoms, but those have been studied. And they also have found that women who use these actually have lesser incident of breast cancer and uterine cancer. So they have surmised that these are actually protective of those things, that a lot of women are afraid to use estrogenic foods and have been told to stay away from them, and yet we find in other cultures that they are actually protective. So it's in using them safely, and that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today. So let's go through this list. So we have soy products, like we just talked about, the rich in hot isoflavones. We have flax seeds that have the lignans and omega-3s that help with heart health and hormonal balance. Legumes that include, those are all your bean kind of things, the lentils and chickpeas and different kind of beans. And we're going to talk about all of these a little bit more as we go through here. Berries, which I just found out recently, and how exciting is that? These delicious berries that are so plentiful in the summer are filled with good phytoestrogens and antioxidants. And nuts and seeds are another kind. And there's a new one that I'm going to talk about that is actually really exciting, and I'm going to go through that in just a minute, so stay tuned. Okay, first up are the soy products, and that includes the tofu and tempeh, soy milk, edamame, which are rich in what we call the isoflavones. That's a type of the phytoestrogen. And they specifically help with reducing hot flashes, very good for that, and also support bone density, bone health, which is more unusual. Not all the phytoestrogens do that. So that's really good for that. And like tofu and tempeh are really good in stir fry. Lots of good recipes for that, and I've included that in our ebook. Soy milk, great with your breakfast, and edamame you can prepare in different ways. You can steam it, you can roast it, you can roast the beans themselves and add seasonings to it and make it like a snack, and that's really delicious. And those are really good for the isoflavones. What's not so good is the soy sauce, soybean oil, soy protein isolates. Now, the soy protein isolates are the things that you find a lot in the high protein drinks and high protein bars that are very popular. And they're not as safe for menopause and for use of women to protect us from breast cancer and uterine cancer because they're very concentrated. It's hard to control the dose, and they're not is easily digested and utilized by the body when they're not in the complete form in the food. Okay, so we don't recommend those. All right, let's see the next one. Next up is talking about flax seeds. And I didn't use these a lot earlier in my life, but in menopause, they became more important because they're packed with lignans, and that's another type of phytoestrogen. And I didn't, there are different recipes and things I'm going to share with you at the end that to use this, but you could also just kind of get the ground up flaxseed and you can put it on your oatmeal or cereal. You can put it on salads. There are a lot of different uses for it, and you need about 2 teaspoons a day to get enough of the phytoestrogens, but you can mix that. You can do the flax seeds and you can do some other type. So my favorite I call the estrogenic flaxseed breakfast muffins. I'm going to share that recipe with you. They're also packed with omega-3s, and omega-3s are really good for our heart. So think heart, think inflammation in your joints, so less joint pain, and just reduce inflammation throughout the body. So very healthy. Legumes. Legumes are filled with isoflavones, so they are really good for you, and there are a lot of different things you can do with beans, just tons of different things, from soups to stir fries to salads. And I'm going to share a recipe for the Greek chickpea salad that I really love. So lentils, chickpeas, azuki beans, mung beans all contain high levels of these isoflavones, and they also are full of fiber and other nutrients. So what helps us in menopause is that it's very filling, and we are more satisfied and less desiring to eat things that we're not supposed to eat. So those are all the benefits of the legumes. All right, and we have berries, which are very high in isoflavones also. Not very high, but they are a good source of them, let's put it that way. Not as high as soy. But you have the strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, which are all good choices. You can use them in, of course, eating them with your nuts. Maybe that's a good way, with yogurt, with smoothies. I like to take my strawberries and dip it in a little Splenda or stevia or maple syrup and have a little bit of that for dessert, or you can make a dark chocolate syrup. There are lots of different things you can do as healthy desserts or snacks with the berries. All right, and don't forget your nuts and seeds. They are also great sources of phytoestrogens and lignans and isoflavones, so 2 different kinds. Walnuts, almonds, and sunflower seeds are particularly high, but other nuts have different levels of these, so they're all good. They're filled with healthy fats and with these phytoestrogens. Make great crunchy snacks. You can add them to salads. You can put them in with your berries, and they make a crunchy addition to your meals that will really help increase your phytoestrogen. All right, and I told you I was going to go over something new and special at the end of this video, and this is called the Kumons. They are alfalfa, clover, soybean sprouts, split peas. I don't know if there were other sources, but these are the top ones. And they have just recently discovered this type of phytoestrogen and found that it has particular brain benefits, that it helps clear the symptoms like brain fog, helps improve your cognitive ability. I don't know if it helps with memory, but it's possible, but because they're still actually looking into this. But this is very new, and I think that I can say that I know they talk about how HRT protects your brain. These also are neuroprotective, they call it, of our brain. So very exciting. Alfalfa, clover, soybean sprouts, and split peas. So I'm definitely going to be adding more to my diet. Okay, so imagine reducing all of your symptoms naturally and holistically. It's really pretty exciting, and I'm so happy to be able to share this with you today because it really will help you become more balanced and help you feel more in control, the empowerment part of it. And they're super easy to incorporate into your diet. So check the description. I'm going to give you a link to get these free recipes that go along with this video. And I hope if you have any others that you want to share, please let me know because I'd be happy to put them in our handout. And I really appreciate you today. Have a great day and have a happy, healthy menopause.